have one life to live, and life is short. And the songs that I've been singing for 30 years speak about the Indian point of view. I think this has been my main focus, is to speak about the Indian point of view to a world that does not care and could not learn to care. Across the desolate ranges of every reservation, people live in a poverty in what is known as reservations, and they were nothing more than concentration camps.
Reuters. Part of a major pipeline linking Canadian oil exports to the U.S. went up in smoke. Emergency crews were on the scene of the explosion that killed at least 2 employees. The Enbridge pipeline is responsible for 1 million barrels of oil imported into the U.S. daily. The cause of the explosion was not immediately discovered, but the Department of Homeland Security says there were no known links to terrorism related to the blast. Conway Gittins, Reuters.
From a humble beginning, America's obsession with the automobile has become an addiction that today forces the United States to purchase 5 billion barrels of foreign oil every year. With the United States foreign trade deficits reaching nearly $800 billion per year and no solutions in sight, American debt will cripple generations to come. America is bleeding money. Over the next 10 years, at current rates, the United States could be losing up to $5 trillion. Debt, however, is not the only problem. Addiction to oil has caused devastating wars and possibly an irreversible worldwide environmental catastrophe. No one seemed to care when the price of gasoline was 89 cents a gallon. In April 1998, oil was close to $15 a barrel and predicted to reach $150 a barrel in the near future. Production costs in some Arab countries is about $12 a barrel, and the world consumes 85 million barrels of oil a day. In Western national security circles, the reality of trillions of dollars of oil revenue flowing to foreign nations is a matter of grave concern for the United States.
And the rivers and the oceans and the streams are muddy brown, and the red and orange sunset turns to gray, and the sunlight gets dimmer as the haze falls all around, and the green and yellow hills have turned to clay. In a world without tomorrow, in a world that cannot last, in a world without tomorrow, my friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming fast. And the trees are dead and barren, and the grass has turned to stone, and only man has caused it all. A victim of his greed and profit, now he stands alone, waiting to be the last one to fall. In a world without tomorrow, in a world that cannot last, in a world without tomorrow, my friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming fast. cannot last in a world without tomorrow. My friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming back. And the flowers, they are dying as the black rain takes its toll, and all the fish are turning gray and pale, and the blue and purple mountains look like a pile of coal, and the atmosphere is getting thick and stale. In a world without tomorrow, in a world that cannot last.
Confrontations have become more aggressive on the First Nations side in terms of direct action. The confrontation have been that the Indigenous people, the people themselves, are starting to tell the chiefs, "We are not waiting for you any longer, and we are not going to wait for a system that does not work. We are not going to wait the average 27 years that it takes to settle a land claim."
How many people died in here, you said?
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
What happened in Iraq is nothing new. Over 120 years ago, the issue was gold in the Black Hills that led to the massacre of the Dakota people. Today, 100 years later, oil is the new black gold. The next target is oil on the traditional lands of First Nations people. In all of this, we should learn from history. We do not have to experience the same thing over and over again. At 7.5 million square miles of land between the United States and Canada, at 30% of the world economy, there's more than enough wealth for the Indigenous people to have a share in the wealth of our own lands.
Land should not be an issue in Canada, but increasing violence between Indigenous people and the government is centered on who owns the land.
Get out, you fucking goof! Get out of here then! We're moving out, just...
Like so many other people in the world, the Indigenous peoples of Canada are fighting for a rightful share of their own resource wealth. Having failed in Canada to resolve the issues, the message will be taken directly to the Americans who buy the product. Canada currently sends 2.3 million barrels of oil a day to the US market. With the additional 1.9 million barrels of oil a day, Canada will be sending 3 times as much oil to the United States as Saudi Arabia.
In a world without tomorrow, my friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming back. In a world without tomorrow, in a world that cannot last, in a world without tomorrow, my friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming back. And the flowers, they are dying as the black rain takes its toll, and all the fish are turning gray and pale, and the blue and purple mountains look like a pile of coal, and the atmosphere is getting thick and stale. In a world without tomorrow, in a world that cannot last, in a world without tomorrow, my friend, that day is on its way. that day is coming fast. My friend, that day is on its way. My friend, that day is coming fast.